So what are the latest odds that we're going to get a rate cut this month? Oh, you forgot about that. I didn't, and I've got the latest for you. We're also going to talk about government shutdown. Hot update that you need to hear. XRP communities divided on a big subject. We'll talk about it. Price action along with a story that you need to hear about cold storage.
I say lots of naughty things, so here's your warning.
We got some green up on the screen going into Monday's action. What kind of action? Well, I'm going to let you know what's going to happen on Monday. But before we do it, you know the deal. You, the viewer, matters most. That's why I share your comments at the beginning of every video. Beast York, Ontario, dropping support on the channel. Some Canadian Minion says thank you. Well, thank you, and you're very welcome. I'm glad to be bringing you news to my friends up north. Pretty much everyone's up north of me now. Cassius Prop says, and there is the BTC dominance chart. Thanks, Klaus. You're the best. Yeah, seriously, if there's any way you can think of how I can improve the channel, let me know in the comments down below. NSK says, for some reason, I can't comment on your other channel shorts, but I'll comment here. I'm frustrated, but yeah, I believe we rise and we're going to see the create year-end juice in the beginning of 2026. Optimistic, but tired. I totally get it. I get tired as well. I don't want anyone here to think that like I'm immune to this stuff. I get frustrated too. I get let down too. I get tired too, but I also get excited. It's crypto. Caesar Marine says, Klaus, why worry about a few small fish investors when the big trouts are gobbling up XRP anyways? Because smalls add up, all right? Before this, I was a corporate person, and let me tell you, those corporate people focus only on the big fish. I was out there sniping up all the smalls, and my branches were going faster than anyone else's. Why? Because gains are gains. Whether they're small fish or trout, a lot of small fish add up real quickly. Heat map, Bitcoin, 108,499 ETH. Shit, it's all green. We're good with that. Altcoin season index, 25 out of 100, which means what, everyone? BTC dominance. I get it. Historical values here over the last 90 days. The low was yesterday, while the high was last month at 77. That's over the last 90 days. Bitcoin dominance, again, I think Bitcoin dominance is going to start pivoting once we get those ETFs in and once we get the regs in. I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin dominance drops below 50% when that happens. The government shutdown becomes the third longest in history with no end in sight. Yeah, if you're looking for Monday to be the day where this thing ends, you would be wrong, girlfriend. I have got an entire list of things right now being affected by the shutdown and their dates. I don't want to read them all to you because they're I mean, look at how long. I'm gonna keep scrolling. Look. You see this? You want me to read all this? You want me to do it? No, you don't want me to. But if you want to read it, it's all linked in the description below. Essentially, what's happened here is both sides are not coming to the table. Neither side is breaking. Let me share a few quotes with you just so you can see where we're at right now. Senator Mark Kelly says government shutdown could wrap up this week if Republicans sit down and have a negotiation with us. Well, yeah, I get that. Except Republican Senator Katie Britt of Alabama pressed Democrats to do the right thing and open the government first. Essentially, what you're seeing right now is a battle between both sides where neither wants to cave. The Democrats want some health, some healthcare action going on, and the Republicans are like, "Look, we'll talk about it, but we got to open up first." And the Democrats are like, "No, we need to fix this in order to open up." So as of right now, we're going to go into Monday with nothing, no progress made over the weekend. The shutdown now adds twist to September's CPI release as the Fed weighs the next rate cut. Oh, okay, listen to this. No other major reports, including jobs and retail sales data, will be published until the shutdown ends. Why? Because those people aren't working anymore. They ain't getting paid, and we're only doing essential services. Something unusual is happening this week. Not only is it 5 days before the October 29th Fed, the meeting, the CPI data is going to come out, and here's the thing. The Fed is pricing in a rate cut. This is despite what we're going to get CPI-wise. So even if we have bonkers inflation, we're still expected to get, yes, everyone, back-to-back quarter cuts. Right now, the odds are 99% that we're going to get one. Now, will this rate cut help us bring more green on the screen? Possible, but right now a rate cut is small compared to the pain of the government shutdown. And remember, the longer the shutdown goes, the more different agencies, the more different things are affected. I already talked about the jobs. We already talked about some of the other reports. You're even talking about small things like the Army Corps of Engineers is having some problems. They don't have the people. They're missing some monies. Yeah, this is going to get bad with no end in sight. The XRP community is divided over Ripple's influence on token future. Okay, I want let me go through this, and then I want to hear from you. Does Ripple really have an influence on XRP's price? The XRP community spent the weekend in intense debate over whether the token's value and credibility should depend on Ripple or stand independently. Discussions erupted after several posts suggested that the success of XRP is measured through Ripple's business achievements rather than the strength of its own public ledger. I would almost go one step further and say, honestly, I don't think XRP is dependent upon XRPL. I don't think XRP is dependent upon Ripple either. Ripple has been doing great as a company. Have you seen their private shares? Yeah, they be growing, girlfriend, but not at the rate XRP is. And I think when you see Ripple purchasing something like Hidden Road for $1 billion, they also just purchased another one here as of late. That's not really helping out the XRP price at all. In fact, I did a video yesterday talking about ledger stuff. Payments for XRPL suck balls. Yeah, new accounts suck balls. Active users suck balls. But it has nothing to do with the price. We've seen the bigger macros like government shutdown affect the price. What the Fed does affect the price. CPI data affecting the price. But I want to hear from you. Does Ripple have influence over the price of XRP? Does XRPL really matter to the price of XRP? I don't think so. Big macros rule the roost, girlfriend, and think about it. When you go to the chart of XRP and you zoom out, what are some of the biggest things? This right here, this was the ICO boom of 2017, 2018. Right here, we had what? Yeah, the lockdowns with Rona, right? People had nothing to do with their money. There was a lot of money floating around. You couldn't gamble or anything like that. A lot of people got into crypto. And then the big spikeroni right here, we got from what? Reg talk. Because what? We got a new presidential regime in that's pro-crypto, and we were talking about getting some regs. This spike right here was because of what? Crypto Week, again, with regs. None of those have to do with Ripple. None of those have to do with XRPL. But maybe I'm stupid. Maybe I'm just haunted. So let me know down below if I am. 3 million worth of stolen XRP tracked down. Okay, this is a story I wanted to share with you because this is kind of messed up. And I'm going to share with you another story about risk versus reward. Earlier this week, LaRoque's YouTube video in which he details his devastating loss went semi-viral. The investor revealed that he'd been accumulating XRP for a total of 8 years, only to lose all of his 1.2 million tokens to hackers. So if this dude has been accumulating XRP for 8 years, you know he got some really, really cheap action. He says, about a year ago, I retired. My wife and I retired. We were planning on moving out to Las Vegas, buying a house. I don't know what we were going to do. I guess we're just going to go back to work. Yeah, because the money's gone. Elliptical, here's why. Elliptical stated that it was doing everything possible to assist the victim, adding that the massive theft happened due to the seed phrase being imported onto the app. One lesson our industry needs to do better with is not confusing products when you offer both custodial and non-custodial products. Think about this. When you get closer to retirement, you don't want risky assets, right? Why, as you're retiring, would you want to put all your eggs into XRP? Because if it crashes, you lose a lot of your value. See what happens to this, and this is me not ripping on XRP. This is me ripping on this person here that left their assets in one of the riskiest things out there as they're retiring. That's just stupid as shit. When you're young, when you've got a lot of money flowing in, you could take those risks. But if you've already crossed the finish line of retirement, maybe this dude should have parked his money somewhere a bit safer, somewhere with more protection. And that brings up the idea of this. The victim used an elliptical wallet, mistakenly thinking that it was a cold storage wallet. However, it turned out the device was connected to the internet, which made it extremely invulnerable. He said, I thought I did all the things right. No, you didn't. In fact, you did several things wrong. And it's not that I'm saying that XRP is bad, but think about that. When you're getting close to retirement, when you're getting to that finish line, you de-risk, right? You get away from the risk and you go into more boring assets. So that if the market does poop, guess what? you don't lose that much. And that's the whole point. Once you get to retirement, you've got your assets ready to go. You've got your wife excited that you're going to buy a home in Vegas. And, well, then your dumbass doesn't know how to use a fucking wallet. So, some people just aren't that bright. And again, I'm not ripping on XRP, but why in the fuck would you ever put your money, tons of money, in the most riskiest assets ever? Crypto's the most riskiest as you are retired. Once you cross that finish line, all you need, baby, is your monthly income. Unless this person didn't have enough to retire, but I really doubt it because they had 3 million worth of XRP. So you know what I'm saying. XRP price, we're at 239 right now, while volume's at $3.3 billion. Over the last month, it's been a little bit of pain train. But to be honest with you, I think we're going to see a lot of green once the government shutdown gets fixed. When isn't it going to get fixed? Fucked if I know, and I don't even think they know because both sides truly hate each other. Will we see a little bit of bump in price with the rate cut? It's possible, but I don't think we're going to get anything crazy with that because right now the market's expecting it. I mean, think about it. A 99% chance that you're going to get a rate cut. The market's looking at this pretty much thinking it's a guaranteed thing, so they already start pricing that action in. So XRP fans, we know the deal. ETFs are going to help us out, just like they helped out Bitcoin. Regs are going to help us out. Well, guess what? Those things are delayed until the government shutdown ends. I'll keep bringing you updates as more news comes out. So the dude didn't know if he had a cold wallet or one connected to the internet, and he put his retirement into there. Pretty fucking stupid if you ask me. Now, I will say that it is cool to purchase XRP, and I've got no problems with that. I've got no problems at all with players getting into any sort of crypto. But if you're retired and you're putting huge chunks of money in some of the riskiest shit out there that we know is manipulated, right? That we know has flash crashes all the time, extreme volatility, and so forth, why would you do that? I mean, think about that. When you're retired, you've got it all figured out, right? That's how it works. My parents are retired. They know what they get every month. They know what they got in their savings. They know that their house is paid for. You get what I'm saying. They're not going to sit here and go, you know what? We're comfortable. We're stable. We're safe. Let's risk it for the biscuit. No. They're like, let's go into boring shit. Let's go into Dow Jones Industrial Average stuff and look for 3 to 5% yield every year. And if we're lucky, a 7% yield. Yeah, because you're already retired and you don't need to take the risk. When you're young, like you and I are, yeah, we could take the risk because we have so many years to make up for if mistakes happen. But this person made 2 mistakes. Didn't understand cold storage, a little wallet action, and they had their assets in something risky. Maybe spread the biscuit around there and have some risk with some safe stuff. Doesn't sound like that's what happened though, and now my guy's got to tell his wife, we're going back to work, baby. Yo, my wife would fucking divorce the shit out of me if I told her that. If I was like, yo, baby, we're retired, we're good to go. And then like 6 months, a year later, I'm like, I fucked up. I didn't know how to use a crypto wallet and I lost everything. She'd straight up kick me right in the fucking junk, send my nuts out to the moon for being that stupid. Now, let's get back to the big thing I really care about. Does Ripple really influence the price of XRP? I mean, we've seen them. All they've been doing lately is just pimping out RLUSD. That's really all they've been doing. Everything has been settling with RLUSD. All their payments have been RLUSD. And I got to be honest with you, I don't have a problem with that because Ripple's doing it as a private company. So they're doing what makes them money the most. But what about XRPL? Does that have any influence on the price? Have you looked at the XRPL stats? They fucking suck. The burn rate for XRP is like 500 to 600 XRP a day. That's shitty. You ain't going to get fucking rich on that burn rate at all. And development and growth of XRPL suck massive balls. But the price of XRP keeps going up when we talk about regs, when we talk about crypto presidents and pro-crypto SEC people. In fact, we saw XRP roar during what, everyone? Crypto Week, which was what? A whole week dedicated to regs and the advancement of crypto. So yeah, maybe Ripple has some influence on the price. Maybe XRPL has some influence on the price. But my opinion is that the majority of the action of price, and look at Stankrat going at it, the majority of the price action is affected by big macros. When inflation sucked balls, we saw what happened with prices. When all of a sudden we started getting reg talk, we saw what happened to prices too. When the government shutdown happened, which paused those regs, which also paused those ETFs. Price went where everyone? Down, 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 girlfriend. So my thinking is it is macros that rule the roost. And holy shit, my man is dumping back here. Paid actors, definitely one tap, baby. Choo choo what? You know the deal, lemon peel. Choo choo bitches.